Mother Nature is at the helm of some pretty incredible forces. Perhaps none are more beautiful and more deadly than water. Today, we're going to take a look at some incredible frozen waves, from phenomena that only look like frozen waves to entire waves made of ice. Hold on tight, subscribe to the channel, and let's take a closer look at 10 frozen waves stuck in time. Number 10. Now that's what Baikal, a frozen lake. Located in southern Siberia, Lake Baikal in Russia holds the distinction of being the world's biggest and deepest freshwater lake. In addition to being enormous, it is also one of the world's oldest lakes, being estimated at over 25 million years old. It also contains about 20% of the world's unfrozen freshwater. But the most interesting aspect of this lake are the parts that are frozen. During winter months, the area is subject to ferocious freezing winds and cycles of thawing and freezing. As a result, the 600-kilometer lake freezes an assortment of intricate patterns. These patterns are the result of two things. First, the lake is so deep and vast that it freezes gradually layer by layer. However, normally only the top layer of this would be visible. But it just so happens that the Lake Baikal isn't just the largest of its kind, but it's also the clearest lake in the world, meaning that all of the unique patterns in the ice are perfectly visible and create dazzling visual spectacles. And if you thought this was a sight to behold, you'll want to stick around to catch our number 1 entry. A sight so stunning, one man walked Antarctica to find it. Number 9. On a roll. Lake Michigan runs west to east across 5 states, including Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, and of course, Michigan. The lake is also home to unique phenomena known as frozen rolling waves. These waves are prominent along the shoreline, and while the waves obviously can't be frozen and still roll with the currents, they are composed of large chunks of frozen ice that build up along the shore as they come barreling in. While many lakes exist in frigid places, like Lake Baikal, the frozen rolling waves on Lake Michigan are the result of a very specific set of circumstances. In order for these waves to form, the temperature of the wind itself has to be significantly below freezing, and at the same time powerful enough to move the massive chunks of ice without them freezing together. These conditions don't exist just anywhere. Before we go on, like this video, pop the subscribe button, and ring the notification bell right now, or the ghost in your closet will manifest itself tonight. Number 8. Jökulsárlón, Iceland. Contrary to its name, Iceland is far from a frozen tundra. And the parts that do see extreme cold also see summer months when lush greenery overtakes the landscape. Nestled in the southern portion of Vatnajökull National Park, Jökulsárlón is a large glacial lake. And by the beginning of summer, it is very calm. As the winter months take hold, large chunks of ice fall from glaciers on the lake and cause large waves to surge towards land. Waves that are filled with freezing water. As the summer months go on, the large volume of ice helps keep the lake colder than the surrounding area. And as it refreezes, it creates some of the most stunning frozen scenery in the world. In fact, it is so awe-inspiring that one of these frozen waves becomes the subject of this viral photo entitled Circle on Ice. Number 7. Snowball waves. In 2013, Sebago Lake in Maine was the site of a very bizarre natural event. A local photographer named David Allen was one of the first to take notice of it, and he immediately began to film what he saw. What he saw was thousands of snowball-like ice orbs floating along the shoreline. The orbs are likely the result of cold temperatures and constant motion of the lake, which could have eroded them into the smooth snowballs captured in the video. David posted the video to social media, where it quickly became a sensation. Number 6. Crawling ice waves. The next entry on our list looks and sounds like something out of a natural disaster movie. Ice that crawls onto land. In Lake Superior in Minnesota, the phenomena of crawling ice, or ice cracking, was witnessed in 2017. Lake Superior is the largest of all the Great Lakes, so large in fact that the remaining Great Lake could fit inside it. Needless to say, when it freezes, it makes a lot of ice. Ice stacking happens when a thin, brittle layer of ice forms on the surface of a lake. The current then carries the layer to shore, where it collides with the ground and shatters like glass, accumulating large shiny mounds of ice shard along with the shore. Since essentially the entire top of the lake is frozen, the ice piles up unceasingly. But this amazing display of crawling ice isn't just something to look at. According to those lucky enough to witness the rare events, the breaking ice is almost as mesmerizing to listen to as it is to watch. Number 5. The frozen waves of Antarctica. Let's face it, of all the sights on today's list, this is probably the one most of us are least likely to see in person. These incredible frozen waves look like tsunamis held in time, but they actually aren't. Water flowing this fast would be more likely to create a situation like the rolling ice waves in Michigan. So just how are these frozen waves formed? As it so happens, Antarctica is located on several fault lines and is subject to numerous earthquakes every year. The scientists on this one is a bit complicated, but as ice is compressed, it begins to rise up like a large-scale version of crawling ice, with the shifting ground acting as a lake. Over time, the massive waves melt and refreeze repeatedly in a process that actually forces out oxygen, leaving them with the amazing blue hue seen in these photos. Number 4. Shove off. An ice shove, otherwise known as an ice tsunami, is a massive force of nature that can come from large lakes or oceans. They are caused when massive sheets of ice form and then are carried either by wind, ocean currents, or a combination of the two to land, where they slam the coastline, depositing thousands of pounds of ice in massive piles that have been recorded as tall as 12 meters. According to those who study the phenomena, ice tsunamis are most common during spring, as even larger sheets of ice begin to break apart and become more mobile. In 2019, Lake Erie produced a massive ice tsunami when winds reached over 74 miles per hour, driving massive sheets of ice into neighborhoods and homes in Fort Erie and Hoover Beach in New York State. In addition to being destructive, ice tsunamis are also extremely loud. Number 3. Shelf ice. Common in the Great Lakes, shelf ice occurs when a cocktail of high winds and frigid temperatures come together and send large waves careening towards stationary sheets of ice. If conditions are severe enough, the wave will literally freeze as it impacts the ice. As more and more waves come along, the sheet will continue to grow until it is massive, with less melting each year than what is added. Millions of years of this process can lead to the formation of icebergs and glaciers. While an ice shelf is theoretically possible in any climate that is extreme enough, however, the vast majority of the world's ice shelves lie along the Antarctic coast, with a few in the Great Lakes. While shelf ice can be massive and easily accessible by boat, people are strongly advised against walking on shelf ice. Not only does the water, generally frozen at high speeds, have less structural stability than frozen still water, but ice shelves are prone to move quickly and unpredictably, meaning no matter how unlikely it seems, people can easily get carried off by one. Number 2. Slurpee waves. Slurpee waves are probably exactly what you imagine. Ocean waves made of slush. But after all the different icy waves we've seen today, you might be wondering how Slurpee waves happen instead of frozen rolling waves. Well, the answer is in the science. If the water was frigid and the winds were high, rolling ice would happen. But a far rare weather situation occurs when the air is colder than the water, causing the water at the surface of the wave to freeze into ice crystals before being recirculated into the warmer water, forming a perfect slush. This slush generally isn't harmful the way an ice tsunami would be. And in fact, people are even known to surf these slushy waves. Number 1. Dumont d'Urville. Scientist Tony Trevelyan has traveled to some of the world's most remote, most treacherous, and most beautiful places in the name of science. Throughout his travels, he has also snapped quite a lot of photographs which have gained considerable notoriety online. One such picture was a photo he took in 2012 that showed him standing in front of a towering blue wall. The wall looks like a massive tidal wave frozen in time. The discovery was no coincidence. In fact, Tony would probably be a fan of today's list. At the time, he was committed to studying enormous frozen waves and walked for miles across sheets of ice to find the wave at Dumont d'Urville. While these giant frozen waves are incredible, they aren't truly waves, but enormous structures that bear resemblance to a wave. What Tony had discovered was the remnants of a melting iceberg, as lower portions were exposed to sunlight, and melted water running down over the top slowly caused the appearance of a wave. Regardless of its origin, Tony's pictures are truly stunning, and captures something most of us will never see. That's all for 10 frozen waves stuck in time. Which story was your favorite? Have you heard of similar stories? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to TechJoint for more incredible videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.